Hello everyone. So today we will discuss the classroom questions and solutions from the chapter Magnetism and Matter from your crash course module. Okay. So in the previous lecture we discussed the theory of this chapter, the entire theory of this chapter. So you can see question number 1 on screen, which says that you have a magnetic wire of dipole moment 4 pi ampere meter square. This has to be capital A. Okay, is bent in the form of a semicircle. The new magnetic moment is what? So previously, when the wire is straight, the magnetic moment, you consider that pole strength is m. Okay, and you consider that the dipole length is twice L. So in that case, the magnetic moment will be pole strength into dipole length, right? M into twice L, which is given as 4 pi. Now this is your equation number 1. Now the second case is, now if you bend it in the form of a semicircle, okay, if you bend it in the form of a semicircle, if we draw a semicircle in this manner, all right. So now the poles are here. Okay, what is the distance between the poles? That is twice r, isn't it? Now this particular length, because it is the same wire, this particular length is twice L, and if you talk in terms of circumference, this particular length is pi r. Circumference of a semicircle is pi r, so you can write down twice L equal to pi r. Yes, so r equal to twice L by pi. Now what is the new dipole moment in this arrangement? The new dipole moment is pole strength, again pole strength into distance between the poles, that is m into twice r. So what is the value of r? Value of r is, or you can say value of twice r is 4L by pi, isn't it? So m into 4L by pi. So if you want to write this down as m into twice L, then you will get 2 by pi outside. Yes, so m into twice L from equation number 1, the value is given as 4 pi. So 2 by pi into 4 pi, your answer is 8. Okay, option number B. Next question. You have a bar magnet and arranged with north pole pointing towards geographic north. Now it is found that the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field, that is BH, is balanced by the magnetic induction of the magnet at a point which is at a distance 20 centimeter from its center. So the situation is like this. Like this is geographic north and you have a bar magnet placed in this manner. The north is like this. Now we know one thing, that when like poles face each other, then you have the Earth's magnetic field. Earth's magnetic field will neutralize the magnetic field of this bar magnet along the equatorial line. Okay, when unlike poles face each other, then the Earth's magnetic field neutralize, which you actually call as neutral point. The Earth's magnetic field neutralize the magnetic field of the bar magnet along the axial line. Okay, and that is what you call as neutral point. Now here the neutralization is happening here. Okay, so first this distance is given as 20 centimeter. Say we consider this is r, and this point as p. We are considering this point as p, say. Now BH value, this should be given in the question. Okay, this was not printed, but this will be given in the question. Now this BH is neutralizing the field at this point. Now this is field along the equatorial line, right? What was the relation? Mu naught by 4 pi m by r cube. Okay, mu naught m by 4 pi r cube. That was the relation. So you need to find out the magnetic moment. The question is asking you to find out magnetic moment. So m is equal to BH into r cube divided by mu naught by 4 pi. Okay, so BH value is given as 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 5. BH value is given as 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 5 into r value is given as 0.2 meter, right, in SI, and cube mu naught by 4 pi value is 10 to the power minus 7. Okay, you can do the calculation. The result is 3.2. Okay, option number A, 3.2 ampere meter square. Okay, so next question number 3. A bar magnet of length twice L and length, breadth, and this pole strength and magnetic moment is given. Okay, now what is said is you have this bar magnet and you cut this into four equal parts. All right. The pole strength of each part is what? Now always know that pole strength is proportional to cross section area. Okay, now since you are cutting it in such a manner that the length is getting split into two equal parts, so look at the cross section. The cross section is also getting divided into two equal parts. Therefore the pole strength for each part will be, this will be p by 2, this will be p by 2. Okay, so it will be p by 2. P by 2 is the answer, option number B. Next question. You have a bar magnet now which is of magnetic moment m1. Now you cut this into two equal parts. Now previously the magnetic moment was m1. Now in the new parts the magnetic moment is m1 by 2 when you cut this into two equal parts axially, right? Now it is said that you arrange them in such a manner, or you arrange them at 90 degree to each other. In this situation the new magnetic moment is m2, the new equivalent magnetic moment. Now here the dipole moment of each part is m1 by 2 because you cut them axially. This entire piece was cut axially, and this piece is here and this particular piece is here. Okay, now when you arrange them in 90 degree, the equivalent dipole moment will be m1 by 2 whole square plus m1 by 2 whole square. Okay, this will get you m1 by root over 2. Okay, so m1 by m2 is root over 2. Okay, so that is your answer, option number D. Next question. Electromagnets are made up of soft iron. Okay, why? Because soft iron has low retentivity, low coercivity, option number D. Now in the theory, if you have gone through, in the theory I mentioned a table showing a comparison between steel and soft iron, right? And there in the retentivity section of soft iron I showed that the retentivity is high. Mind it is in comparison high. This retentivity is high in comparison to steel, but in general the retentivity of soft iron is also low, and that is the reason it is fit to be used for making electromagnets. Okay, since the retentivity is low, in general, on comparison you will say this is high. On comparison with the steel, you will say the retentivity for soft iron is high, but in general this value is low, and therefore it is fit to be used in making or manufacturing electromagnets. Okay, so a paragraph has been added. I'll share this note once again so that you can go through this. Alright, so we have option number D. Question number 6. Magnetic susceptibility do not depend upon temperature in case of diamagnetic substance, right? In para and ferro it does depend. If you remember the graph, again if I show you that very quickly, yeah, these were the graphs, page number 55 in the PDF. So this was for diamagnetic, this is for paramagnetic, and this is for ferromagnetic. Okay, next, at the magnetic pole of the earth, the value of angle of dip is what? 90 degree. At the poles it is 90 degree, at the equator it is 0 degree. Option number D is the answer. Next question, number 8. You have a magnetic needle, it is lying parallel to the magnetic field. Now if you want to rotate it by 60 degree, you are doing W amount of work. Okay, now what is the amount of torque needed to maintain the needle at that position? Now you see, work done relation is mb cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2. Yes, so mb cos 0 minus cos 60. Cos 60 is half, cos 0 is 1. So you get mb 1 minus half, which is mb by 2. Alright. Now torque needed to maintain in this position. So get the value of mb from here. It is 2w, equation number 1. Now torque formula is mb sine theta. So the new position is 60 degree, right? So mb sine 60. What is sine 60? Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2 mb. So what is the value of mb? There is 2w. Okay. So root 3 by 2 into 2w, and that is root 3 times of w is your answer. Option number A. Next question, susceptibility of magnesium is given. Magnesium at 300 Kelvin is given, 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 5. The temperature at which susceptibility will become, this is what. Now you know that susceptibility is inversely proportional to temperature. Okay, let's check one thing. Magnesium is paramagnetic or diamagnetic? Okay, it is not mentioned over here. I have not included the example. So magnesium is diamagnetic substance. Okay. All right. So in such a case, because if they are paramagnetic, then they won't depend on temperature at all. Okay. So anyway, so we know that susceptibility is inversely proportional to temperature. So here you are finding out this will be what temperature you are finding out, right? T2 by T1 equal to chi1 by chi2. You can write chi1 by chi2. Chi1 is 1.2 10 to the power minus 5. Chi2 is 1.8 10 to the power minus 5. And T2 will be like 12 by 18 into what is the initial temperature? 300 Kelvin. Okay, and your answer is 200. So option number B is the result. Next question. So you are given 4 rod samples. Okay, now you bring a magnet near them, near these 4 samples. Now the first sample is feebly repelled, therefore feeble repulsion means this is diamagnetic, right? The second is feebly attracted, this is paramagnetic. C is strongly attracted, this is ferro. And D remains unaffected, that means a bar of, well, you bring a magnet, it will be a non-magnetic substance entirely. Okay, non-magnetic substance totally. So if you look at the options, now A is non-magnetic, of course not. B is paramagnetic, correct. C is diamagnetic, wrong. And D is ferromagnetic, wrong. So option number B is the result. Okay. Question number 11 next. Bar magnet having a magnetic moment value given. Now it is free to rotate in a horizontal plane. A horizontal magnetic field exists in that space. The work done in taking the magnet slowly from a direction parallel to the field to a direction 60 degree will be what? So W is MB cos parallel. When you say parallel, it is 0 degree minus cos 60, right? 60 degree. So this is half of MB. Now you see the value of M and B are directly given. This is a very simple question. M is 2 into 10 to the power 4 and value of B is given as 6 into 10 to the power minus 4. Therefore, the answer comes out to be 6. Okay. So option number C is the answer. Question number 12. You have 2 bar magnets. They are of same mass, length and breadth, but they have different magnetic moments, M and twice M. Now the first arrangement is pole for pole, okay, and when you allow them to and when you suspend them by a string, okay, then the time period of assembly in a magnetic field of strength H is 3 seconds. All right, so the first arrangement is like pole for pole. Pole for pole arrangement is this: north facing and south facing in one direction. Now pole for pole, the angle between them is 0 degree, right? Now in pole for pole, if you remember the theory, there the equivalent dipole moment used to be addition of the individual dipole moments, and when the polarity was reversed in case of theta 0 degree, then the dipole moment were subtracted. So in the first case, since theta is 0 and you have pole for pole arrangement, m will be m plus twice m. Okay, this dipole moment is m. The first magnet has dipole moment m, second one has twice m. So the equivalent dipole moment will be m plus 2m, which is 3m. Say this is m1. Okay, first situation. Here time period, when you suspend it by a string and allow it to oscillate in a magnetic field, the time period is 3 seconds. Now the second situation is you reverse the polarity. In that case, the dipole moment will be like 2m minus m. Okay, so 2m minus m, that is m. So here you are finding out the value of t. So the time period relation is 2 pi square root of I by m bh. Now since they are identical, right, the dimensions are same, like even masses are same, so the moment of inertia will be same, right, that will be constant, and the field is same, therefore pH will also be constant. So T is inversely proportional to square root of m, you can say. T is inversely proportional to square root of m, right? So T2 you are finding out, T2 by T1 equal to m1 by m2 square root. So m1 value is thrice m by m. Okay, so T2 is, here you get root 3, so T2 is 3 root 3. That is your answer, option number B. Next, question number 13. You have a steel wire of length L, okay, and this is magnetic moment M. Now it is bent into a semicircle. This is like question number 1 only. So M equal to M into L, okay, because the length of the steel wire is mentioned here to be L. Okay, so that is your equation number 1, ML. Okay, ML, equation number 1. Now in the second case, you put this in the form of a semicircle, so the distance between the poles will be twice r. So here we can write down L equal to pi r and r equal to L by pi, right? Now m prime is equal to m into twice r, so r value is L by pi, so you can get 2 by pi outside, and you have ml, so ml is m, so twice m by pi is your answer, option number B, twice m by pi. Okay, so question number 14. Curie temperature is the temperature above which ferromagnetic becomes paramagnetic. Yes, so that is option number A, covered in theory. These statements were covered in theory. Number 16. Magnetic susceptibility is negative for diamagnetic substance, option number D, straight. It is positive for paramagnetic and highly positive for ferromagnetic. Next, question number 17. Now if you look at these two graphs, this is for steel, right, and this is for soft iron. Okay, and we know soft iron is used to make temporary magnets or electromagnets, and steel is used to make permanent magnets. Now in a generator you use permanent magnets, in transformer you use electromagnets. Okay, so you will use B for electromagnets and transformer. Option number A is the result. You can check the other options, they will not match. Question number 18 next. So we talked about angle of dip, right? Always remember, or we talked about that angle of dip value is 90 at the poles and 0 at the equator, right? So when it is south pole, towards the south pole the values are negative, towards the north pole the values are positive. Okay, so if it is written del is plus 25, this will represent north pole, and minus 25, this will represent south pole. Okay, so your answer is option number C. You can read the question and you will understand that now. Number 19. You have a magnet of moment M and you suspend it in a uniform magnetic field B. The maximum value of torque acting on it is what? Now maximum value of torque happens when theta is 90, isn't it? So the relation for torque is mb sine theta, and when theta is 90 it becomes mb. So option number A is the answer. Next question. You have a circular coil. Now this is of 20 turns and radius is given, placed in a uniform field of 0.10 Tesla, normal perpendicular to the plane of the coil. Magnetic field is normal to the plane of the field. If the current in the coil is 5 ampere, the torque acting on the coil is what? Now what is the relation for torque? NIAB sine theta. Theta is 90 here. So number of turns is 20. Current value is 5 ampere. A, this is a circular coil, right? Pi r square. So pi, what is the radius? 10 centimeter, that means 0.1 square. In SI 0.1 meter, right? And what is the field value? B value is 0.10. So you can perform the calculation. Your answer will be 0.314. Option number C. The last question of the exercise from the classroom questions. Okay, so you have an interesting situation here. The question is saying that you have two magnets arranged in this manner. Okay, now a charge particle Q is passing through the midpoint P here, okay, at an angle 45 degree with this horizontal line. Now the question is, what would be the magnitude of the force, or what would be the magnetic force acting on this charge particle? Because this charge particle is moving in a magnetic field, right? Magnetic field is created by these two. Okay, so you see in the first situation, and these distances, this is midpoint given, that means these distances will be d by 2. This will be d by 2. This will also be d by 2. Okay. Now if we redraw the diagram, so this is one of the magnets, this is the other magnet. The dipole moment direction is from south to north, isn't it? Here also south to north along this way. Now we know one thing, say this is the midpoint, and this distance is d by 2, this distance is also d by 2. Now we know one thing, that since this is south and north, the field due to the axial line at this point P will be along this way. This is B1. Say this is the first magnet and this is the second magnet. Then field due to a bar magnet or due to a magnetic dipole, since this magnet will have south here and north here. Now this is placed in such a manner that the field direction is already mentioned in the question, isn't it? The field is along this way, which is at an equatorial point. This is the equatorial point, lying on the equatorial line. Now you know one thing, that due to a bar magnet along the axial line, the direction of the field was along the dipole moment, right? You see the direction of the field and direction of the dipole moment. But at the equatorial line, the direction of the field is opposite to the dipole moment. You see dipole moment is acting below, and this field B2 is acting this way. So of course the resultant will be somewhere in between, right? And it is said that the charge particle is going 45 degree along this line. So first let's check the magnitude of these fields B1 and B2. So B1 value. Now the first magnet has magnetic dipole moment m. The second magnet has magnetic dipole moment twice m. Okay. So B1, that is axial field, the relation is mu naught by 4 pi 2 into m. Yes. So the magnetic moment is m here. So we are putting m directly, divided by d by 2 whole cube. Look, the relation had these two from before only. Okay, the relation have these two already. Now B2 is mu naught by 4 pi. Now for equatorial line, the relation is mu naught m by 4 pi r cube. For axial line the relation is mu naught twice m by 4 pi r cube. Okay, so here in the equatorial line the magnetic moment is twice m, so mu naught m, this is the value of m, twice m is the value of m, right? So divided by d by 2 cube. Now aren't these two fields equal, b1 and b2? So if they are equal, then the resultant will act 45 degree along this direction, or you can say exactly through the middle. This will be the direction of net magnetic field. Now the charge is also going along this direction. Yes, the charge is also going along this direction. Now we know when a charged particle goes parallel to the magnetic field, right, or anti-parallel to the magnetic field, then magnetic force acting on the charged particle is 0. Okay, therefore your answer will be option number D. Okay, so closing this talk.